stuff. Starting with the theory stuff, a multiple vector fiat is legitimate. No actual abuse is occurring. We are not fiating away their impact. Perhaps in theory it would be possible for us to do so, but in the present case, we are not. Fiat decisions do not set precedents. It means you should only vote on act based on actual in-round abuse. Seeing none, you should reject their fiat abuse argument. It can only be fiat abuse if something is getting abused. No bright line is presented. Once again, why is our plan multiple factors, but their K isn't? Their plan encompasses the scores of legislatures. Our plan. No distinction from any other fiat. We're only fiating past our inherent barrier. In this case, the inherent barrier is that of our various agents are not cooperating to enact the plan. Now I'm going to go further and say that fiat is not only legitimate, but it's actually good for education. First, our interpretation is both that decay and policy views should be both evaluated simultaneously. We should be able to weigh the plan against the critique. It's best. A, fairness. Restricting the fiat allows negatives to make the entire 1AC relevant by saying that all matters are in any one tiny aspect of our 1AC representations. This forces the 2AC to start from scratch and ensures that we have to have alphas for every word we say, which is an impossible task. And B, education. Allows us to discuss the policy implementation of the plan, which promotes knowledge about the topic. Fiat is key to education, allows discussion of real-world political issues that are more important than theoretical arguments. Joiner in 99. Debates help students understand different perspectives on a policy issue by adopting perspectives that are different from their own. Switch side debate does this as well. Debate exercises carry educational objectives. Students on each team must work together to define a cogent argument that compellingly asserts their legal position on a foreign policy issue. In this way, they gain greater insight into the real legal dilemmas faced by policymakers. Research forces students to become familiar with contemporary issues related to foreign policy, its agenda, and the role of international law plays in formulating and executing these policies. Debate thus becomes an excellent vehicle for pushing students beyond the stale arguments and over principles into the real world of policy analysis. So, fiat's good. So the entire argument that they make at the bottom of their analysis on decay, just cross-apply it there, like in advance. I'll get to that at some point too, but this is an early cross-application that's going to matter a lot, just in case I don't get there. And now on to the shadow. Let's start at the top with their the stuff that they're serving on the solvency. Once again, they still don't provide us with any sort of clear alternative. Without an alternative, how can we argue against it? We don't understand what the world looks like afterwards. There's no card that says, okay, to stop this from happening, we do this. What's the result then? They're a non-unique critique. That means that they don't solve anything. There's no solvency if they don't provide an alternative that can at least be conceptualized. It may not be a realistic, pragmatic one, but if we don't at least understand what something like that is, there's no way we can move forward in the debate, which is why the K is totally a worthless wash. They tell you that that unless we break down this dichotomy between good and evil, they try and present that as their alternative. That's exactly what we do with our 1AC. We realize that what we're doing in the SQUO, that what we're doing right now with promotion of democracy is poor, it's bad, and it doesn't work. That's why we need to change our methods, and that's the thing that we're promoting in our 1AC, assuming you buy our fiat, which you should, because fiat is good. So, we admit that we do some bad things, and we admit that some of our actions have bad implications, but we believe that in this case, the net benefit is, overriding. Then I say that the alt-specific, so we recognize the shadow within, but what exactly does that mean? What does it mean for me to recognize that I have a shadow within me? That's my shadow back there. I don't understand. Without any sort of card, I can't understand this. And so when you see that their alternative is BS and they don't link to us really, the K does nothing. So let's go to the permutations. The first permute. They say that we can't do both. It's abusive, it lets us get out of everything, if the originality was biased, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all these are wonderful things, but still it doesn't answer the question. If I have my conceptualization of the alternative, and you don't give me a different one, right? Why can't I do both at once? Since you don't give me a different, an actual alternative, why can't I do both? I believe I'm doing both. I believe that by recognizing the fact that, our current SQUO Dem promo is bad, and moving on to a different kind, I think that's a realization of my shadow within. But you don't give me any reason why to believe that that's not. And then, secondly, the second perm is even more important, because it's not intrinsic, and even if it was intrinsic, they don't tell us why that's bad. They don't read you any cards that say, oh my god, intrinsicness justifies, negative conditionality, which they are anyways, even if they call it dispositional, which doesn't really matter. But either way, they don't, legitimize why intrinsic is bad, so ignore that entire argument. And then they start talking about, discourse in the round is important. Discourse is cool, that's why we do this event. But as my cards at the beginning of the fiat, which I cross-applied to here a little while ago, the only way we can learn something from this is not by discussing this philosophical, rhetorical nonsense, essentially, and moving it into this real-world application. I'm a poli-sci major. This topic is the heart of what I care about in my life. And now on to T. Extend or counter interpretation. The neg gives you no specific reason why the affirmative interpretation of constructive engagement is bad. Our Wango 5 evidence says that the government is the people. The neg conceives this evidence. Look, we read Honey and Vinegar, and we know what constructive engagement is. It's our entire negative file. What you find and what the negative has ignored is that the Crocker, their specific author, used two different policies and called them the same thing. This is the story Ginny told you in the 2AC. The Baker, their definition of QBQ is based on a politician's saving face and therefore is bad. His original plan was unconstitutional, or unconditional. We meet that definition. They don't understand the history and the application or meaning of their own definition. This is significant. Don't vote against the app for deficiencies of their neg and their research. Extend all of our reasons to refer. We offer the best historical contextual interpretations, Wang evidence in Serbia, etc. Resolutional intent is captured by in the affirmative. Constructive engagement is not giving them toothpaste to Iran. It's a resolution request for an assistance, so we give them exactly what they want to hear. Furthermore, the intent of the resolution is only the one person. The entire voting committee doesn't necessarily agree with him. They chose the topic, not him. 5, solvency mechanism. On the bottom of the solvency, 2AC, there was an NED actor, so we have a solvency mechanism, and they do, like, employ this already. So it's not like we're doing something incredibly new, and we're not doing something, like, ill-judicious. So, AF.
That was after the time ran out, so